Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you decide to build. I know what it feels like to walk into a room and question your worth before anyone else does, to doubt your voice, to shrink your dreams so they feel safer. But hear me clearly. Confidence is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is when your soul finally agrees with who you are becoming. And today, I want to walk with you through the steps that changed my life, step by step, until you no longer ask for permission to stand tall. Confidence doesn't begin on a stage or in a spotlight. It begins in private. It begins in the moments when no one is watching and you are left alone with your thoughts, your choices, and your boundaries. Before the world ever believes in you, you must first believe that you deserve respect. Not someday, not after you achieve more, not after you become someone else, but now, self-respect is the foundation of confidence. Without it, confidence becomes fragile, dependent on praise, approval, and validation. With it, confidence becomes unshakable, because when you respect yourself, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining why you deserve kindness. You stop tolerating behavior that drains your spirit just to feel accepted. Self-respect shows up in the way you speak to yourself when you fail. Do you insult yourself? Do you replay your mistakes until they feel like definitions of who you are? Or do you correct yourself with compassion and strength? A woman who respects herself does not abuse herself with her own thoughts. She holds herself accountable, yes, but never cruelly. She understands that growth requires honesty, not humiliation. It also shows up in what you allow, the conversations you stay silent in, the relationships you keep even when they cost you your peace, the dreams you abandon because someone else didn't believe in them. Every time you tolerate what dishonors you, you quietly tell yourself that your feelings don't matter. And the soul listens. Confidence weakens when self-betrayal becomes a habit. Self-respect is saying no without guilt. It is walking away without drama. It is choosing rest without apology. It is honoring your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being as sacred. When you respect yourself, you no longer chase what isn't aligned. You no longer beg to be chosen. You choose yourself, daily, consistently, unapologetically. And this isn't loud, it's not aggressive, it's not arrogance, it's calm, it's grounded, it's powerful. People feel it before you say a word. Because when you respect yourself, you don't need to demand respect, it follows you. There will be moments when self-respect feels uncomfortable, when walking away hurts, when setting a boundary costs you a relationship, choosing your growth disappoints others. But discomfort is not a sign you are wrong. Often, it's a sign you are finally honoring yourself. Confidence grows when your actions match your values. When you stop saying yes to things that feel wrong. When you stop shrinking to keep the peace. When you stop dimming your light so others feel comfortable. Every time you protect your dignity, your confidence strengthens. Every time you choose integrity over approval, your inner voice becomes louder and clearer. This is also where faith quietly enters the room. Because self-respect is recognizing that you were created with intention, that your life has meaning, that your presence matters. When you believe that, you stop accepting less than what aligns with your purpose. You stop settling for crumbs when you were meant for abundance, not just materially, but emotionally and spiritually. Confidence is not built by becoming someone else. It is built by coming home to yourself, by honoring who you are, where you are, and who you are becoming. Self-respect is the soil. Confidence is the fruit. And once you plant that seed, once you choose to treat yourself with dignity, everything changes. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you love, The way you dream, you don't wait for confidence to arrive. You build it by respecting yourself first. Confidence doesn't grow from motivation. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls with mood, weather, and circumstances. Confidence grows from discipline, from doing what you said you would do, even on the days you don't feel like it. Especially on those days. Discipline is how trust with yourself is built, and confidence is simply self-trust made visible. Think about it. Every time you break a promise to yourself, something small fractures inside. You say you'll start tomorrow. You say you'll try again next week. You say you'll show up, and then you don't. Over time, your mind quietly learns not to believe you. And when you don't believe yourself, confidence has nothing to stand on. But the opposite is also true. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, waking up when you said you would, finishing the task you wanted to quit, choosing the harder but healthier option, your inner voice grows stronger. You begin to trust yourself. And trust is powerful. Discipline is not punishment, it's devotion. It's showing up for your future self, even when your present self is tired, afraid, or unsure. It's choosing progress over comfort, purpose over excuses. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Discipline doesn't start big. It starts painfully small. 5 minutes earlier, one honest conversation, one completed task, one choice to not quit today. Confidence isn't built by grand gestures. It's built by consistency in the unseen moments. There were seasons in my life where I didn't feel confident at all. New rooms, new countries, new expectations. I didn't always feel ready, but I learned something essential. Readiness is a feeling, discipline is a decision. I decided to prepare when no one was watching, to learn when no one was applauding, to stay committed when no one knew my name. That discipline became my anchor. When doubt whispered, I had proof. Proof that I had done the work. Proof that I could be trusted. Proof that I would show up even when it was uncomfortable. Confidence doesn't come from telling yourself you're capable. It comes from showing yourself you are. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that growth is earned, not gifted. That confidence without effort is fragile. That real power is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. A disciplined woman doesn't rush the process. She respects it. She understands that mastery takes time, and she honors the time it takes. There will be days when discipline feels lonely, when no one notices your effort, when it feels easier to quit than to continue. Those are the days that matter most, because discipline practiced in silence builds confidence that speaks without words, and faith walks hand in hand with discipline. Faith says, I don't see the full picture yet, but I trust the path. Discipline says, then I will keep walking. Together they create resilience. Together they transform uncertainty into strength. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start with one promise, just one. And keep it. Let it be small enough to be realistic, but meaningful enough to matter. Then add another, and another. Brick by brick, belief is built. Confidence is not a personality trait, it's a track record, a history of showing up, a relationship you build with yourself through action. So when you feel unsure, don't ask yourself, am I confident? Ask yourself, did I do the work? Because when discipline becomes your habit, confidence becomes your nature. Confidence lives in the body long before it reaches the mind. Long before you speak, your body speaks for you. The way you stand, the way you walk into a room, the way you carry your breath, your shoulders, your stillness, Your body remembers every time you've shrunk, every time you've braced yourself, every time you've tried to disappear to feel safe. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to live smaller than you were meant to. But your body is not just a place you exist in, it is a vessel of power. And when you reclaim it, confidence follows. Think about how you feel when you're anxious. Your shoulders curve inward, your breath becomes shallow, your chest tightens. Now think about moments when you felt strong, even briefly. Your posture changed, your breathing slowed, your presence expanded. That's not a coincidence, that's the connection. Confidence is physical. It's learned through embodiment. When you stand tall, your nervous system receives a message: I am safe, I am grounded, I belong here. And when your body believes that, your mind begins to follow. So much of insecurity comes from being disconnected from the body, from treating it like something to criticize instead of something to honor, from seeing it as something to fix instead of something that carries you through life. When you constantly judge your body, you weaken your confidence at its roots. Because how can you feel powerful in a home you don't respect? Confidence grows when you begin to listen to your body instead of fighting it, when you fuel it well, when you move it with intention, when you rest it without guilt. Strength is not about perfection, it's about presence, about being fully inhabiting yourself. Movement changes energy, even gentle movement, a walk, stretching, breathing deeply. These are not small things. They regulate your emotions, they clear your thoughts, they reconnect you to your strength. A woman who moves her body regularly carries herself differently, not because she's trying to impress, but because she feels alive inside herself. Posture matters more than we realize. Standing straight is not about looking confident. It's about telling yourself you are worthy of space. Slouching is often learned, especially by women taught to be quiet, agreeable, and small. Reclaiming your posture is an act of self-respect. It is saying, I deserve to be seen. Breath is another key. When you slow your breath, you slow fear. When you breathe deeply, you activate calm. Confidence doesn't shout, it breathes. A calm woman in control of her breath carries an authority that cannot be faked. There is also a spiritual truth here. Your body is not an accident. It is intentionally designed. It holds intuition, it holds memory, it holds resilience. When you honor it, you honor the life you were given. And that reverence turns into confidence that feels grounded, not forced. You don't need to change your body to feel confident. You need to change your relationship with it. Appreciation creates alignment. Alignment creates confidence. When you walk into a room grounded in your body, you don't need validation. Your presence speaks first. People feel it. You feel it. There is a quiet certainty that settles in your chest. Not because you're perfect, but because you're present. Confidence is not pretending to be fearless. It is being fully here, in your body, in your breath, in your power. When you move with intention, stand with dignity, and breathe with awareness, you don't chase confidence anymore. You embody it. The moment you begin to look outside yourself for permission, confidence quietly walks out the door. Approval feels comforting at first. It feels like safety, like belonging, like assurance that you are doing life the right way. But over time, it becomes a cage. Because when your worth depends on being liked, you will eventually abandon yourself to keep others comfortable. Confidence cannot survive in a life built around approval. From a young age, many women are taught, subtly, consistently, to be agreeable, to be polite, to be liked, to not take up too much space, to not upset anyone. And so you learn to edit yourself, your opinions, your dreams, your voice. You read rooms instead of trusting your instincts. You ask silently, is this okay? Before you ask, is this true for me? And every time you do that, your confidence pays the price. Seeking approval trains your mind to believe that other people know better than you do about your own life. It teaches you to doubt your intuition, to second guess your decisions, to feel anxious when validation doesn't arrive, and slowly you forget how to stand on your own. The truth is, not everyone will like you. And that's not a flaw, that's freedom. The most confident women are not universally loved. They are deeply rooted. They understand that approval is temporary, but self-respect is permanent. They choose alignment over applause. They choose honesty over harmony. They choose peace over popularity. When you stop seeking approval, something profound happens. Your energy shifts. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop shrinking your truth to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You stop waiting for green lights that were never yours to wait for. Confidence grows when your inner voice becomes louder than the outside noise. This doesn't mean you become careless or unkind, it means you become clear. There is strength in clarity. There is confidence in knowing why you do what you do, even if no one else agrees. Especially if no one else agrees, there will be moments when choosing yourself feels lonely, when you are not invited, when you are misunderstood, when people label your boundaries as arrogance or distance. But loneliness is often the price of authenticity before it becomes the reward of freedom. Approval seeking keeps you performing. Confidence allows you to be. When you stop chasing validation, you also stop fearing rejection. Because rejection only hurts when you needed that approval to survive. When you are anchored in self-belief, rejection becomes information, not a verdict. It becomes redirection, not rejection. Faith plays a quiet but powerful role here. When you trust that your life has purpose, you don't need everyone to agree with your path. You understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you. Some people are lessons, some are seasons, some are blessings. And confidence is knowing the difference without bitterness. Ask yourself honestly, how many decisions have you delayed because you were waiting for reassurance? How many dreams have you downsized because you were afraid of judgment? How many times have you silenced your truth because you didn't want to disappoint someone? Every time you choose approval over authenticity, you trade confidence for comfort, but the opposite is also true. Every time you choose honesty, every time you speak your truth gently but firmly, every time you say no without over-explaining, every time you walk away from something that doesn't honor you, confidence grows. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You don't need to audition for your life. You don't need to be understood by everyone to be aligned with yourself. Confidence begins when you stop asking, do they accept me? And start asking, am I being true to who I am? Because when you accept yourself fully, the world's approval becomes optional, not essential. And that is where real confidence lives. Confidence deepens the moment you know what you stand for. Not what you were told to stand for. Not what social media rewards. Not what keeps everyone comfortable. But what you at your core believe is right, meaningful and true. When your values are clear, your life stops feeling shaky. You stop wavering with every opinion. You stop second-guessing every choice. Because clarity creates stability, and stability creates confidence. A woman without clear values is easily influenced. She changes depending on the room she's in. She bends to avoid conflict. She compromises her truth to feel accepted. And even if she looks confident on the outside, inside she feels restless. Because she is not anchored. She is drifting. Values are anchors. They are the quiet standards that guide your decisions when no one is watching. They are the reason you say yes or no. They are the inner compass that helps you choose what aligns and walk away from what doesn't. When you don't know your values, life feels overwhelming. Every decision feels heavy. Every opinion feels loud. But when you do know them, confidence becomes natural. Clarity is calming. Take a moment and think about the times you felt most confident. It wasn't when everything was perfect, it was when you were certain. Certain about a decision, certain about a boundary, certain about your direction, even if the road ahead was unclear. That certainty didn't come from guarantees. It came from alignment. Knowing your values requires honesty. It asks you to look at your life and ask difficult questions. What matters more to me, comfort or growth, approval or integrity, speed or excellence, freedom or familiarity? There are no right answers, only true ones. And confidence is built by choosing truth over convenience. Once you know your values, something powerful happens. You stop over-explaining. You stop defending your choices. You stop trying to convince people who don't share your priorities. You move with quiet authority, not because you are better, but because you are grounded. Values also protect you. They protect your time, your energy, your emotional health. When something doesn't align with what you stand for, your body feels it. Your spirit resists it. And instead of doubting yourself, you learn to trust that resistance. That trust builds confidence faster than praise ever could. Living by your values will cost you things. Opportunities that look good but feel wrong. Relationships that require you to shrink. Paths that promise quick rewards but compromise your integrity. Letting go of these things can feel like loss, but what you gain is peace. And peace is a form of confidence that cannot be shaken. Faith often strengthens values. When you believe your life has meaning beyond immediate gratification, your standards rise. You stop choosing what is easy. You start choosing what is right. And that choice, repeated over time, shapes a confident, steady identity. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It shows consistency, as congruence, as a life that makes sense from the inside out. When your actions match your values, you don't feel like you're performing. You feel like you're becoming. And here's the quiet truth. People may not always agree with your values. They may challenge them, question them, dismiss them. But when you are clear, their opinions lose their power because confidence doesn't come from consensus. It comes from conviction. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to know what you will not compromise. That alone will simplify your life and strengthen your confidence in ways nothing else. See, when you know what you stand for, you stop falling for everything. And when you live aligned with your values, confidence becomes not something you chase, but something you carry. Every confident woman carries a story she didn't choose. Disappointment, betrayal, failure, loss, moments that broke her open instead of breaking her down. Confidence is not born from ease. It is forged in experience, and pain, when understood, becomes one of life's greatest teachers. Pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. What determines your confidence is not what happened to you. It's what you decided to do with what happened. Many people carry their pain like a sentence. They relive it. They define themselves by it. They let it shrink their expectations and harden their hearts. And over time, their confidence erodes, not because they are weak, but because they never learned how to process what hurt them. Pain that is ignored doesn't disappear. It settles. It shapes your choices quietly. It shows up as fear, self-doubt, people-pleasing, or emotional distance. But pain that is faced becomes wisdom. It sharpens discernment, it deepens empathy, it strengthens boundaries. And confidence grows when you realize you survived what once felt unbearable. There is a moment in every woman's life when she must choose, will this pain make me bitter or will it make me better? That choice is rarely loud. It happens privately, in reflection, in prayer, in honesty, in the courage to stop blaming and start understanding. Wisdom is not pretending the pain didn't matter. It mattered, it changed you. But wisdom is choosing not to live there anymore. It is allowing the experience to inform you, not imprison you. Think about the lessons pain has already taught you. Who to trust, what to walk away from, when to speak up, when to leave, when to rest, when to fight. Those lessons didn't come from comfort. They came from heartbreak, and each one refined you. Confidence deepens when you stop resenting your past and start respecting your resilience. There is strength in saying, that hurt me and I learned. There is power in saying, I didn't know better then, but I do now. Growth requires forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. Because self-blame keeps you stuck. Self-compassion moves you forward. Faith plays a gentle but vital role in this transformation. Faith reminds you that your pain was not wasted, that nothing you endured was meaningless, that even the wounds carried purpose, shaping you into someone more aware, more discerning, more grounded. When you believe that, your past stops haunting you and starts guiding you. Confidence doesn't come from having an easy story, it comes from having an honest one. From knowing you've walked through fire and still chose softness, still chose courage, still chose hope. There is also humility in wisdom. Pain teaches you that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It makes you less judgmental, less reactive, more patient. And that emotional maturity is deeply attractive. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need to compete or compare. You don't need to be proud of what hurt you. You just need to honor what it taught you. The moment you extract wisdom from pain, you take your power back. You stop being defined by what happened and start being defined by how you grew. And here's the truth. The woman you are becoming needs the lessons of the woman you once were. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Your past didn't break you. It built you. You were never created to doubt your worth. You were created to grow into it. Confidence is not about being fearless. It's about being faithful. Faithful to your values. Faithful to your discipline. Faithful to the quiet voice inside you that keeps calling you forward. There will be days when you feel unsure. Days when the path feels heavy. Days when the world is louder than your faith. And on those days, remember this. You are not walking alone. Every step you take with integrity is seen. Every tear you turned into wisdom matter. Every time you chose courage over comfort, heaven moved with you. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need approval to begin. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Stand rooted in truth. Walk with discipline. Move with purpose. And trust this. When you honor who you are becoming, the strength you're searching for will meet you on the way. Don't wait to feel confident. Walk forward in faith. Confidence will follow.